you've had some time now to think about your comments. Pretty harsh, pretty blunt. How have you seen those comments 3 days down the track?
Stand by it 100%, Gerard. I was there just being able to watch as a spectator,
Yep.
and I was stunned, really. I was impressed with Fremantle, but stunned. I thought the first half was a bit of an arm wrestle and both teams struggled to score, and Matty Taberner broke loose, but I thought they were outworked badly through the midfield. I thought Fremantle spread on them hard. And it's just second to the ball. I watched a forward 50 stoppage right in front of my eyes where they just broke out. There was no pressure whatsoever from the Bombers. So, no, I was damning. And the frustration and anger from Essendon supporters. That
was palpable.
They were calling out to me, going, they wanted me to rip into them. That's how they felt about their players and the performance on the weekend.
Andrew McGrath is the Essendon Deputy Vice Captain, and he's been good enough to give us a few minutes of his time live on Sportsday. Andrew, welcome. It's been a difficult week for the club, I imagine. How have you and the leadership group approached it?
Hey, guys. Definitely. It's been an interesting week. Football can play funny tricks on your mind on weeks like this, and things always seem a hell of a lot worse than they are externally, and no doubt we've had a hard week internally. We've reviewed our game really hard and reviewed really our month of footy really hard and really honestly. And as a playing group, as a leadership group, we're extremely disappointed with where we're at right now. By no means is it all bad, but there's a lot of areas in our game right now that aren't stacking up and aren't good enough. And we can understand, we're extremely disappointed. We can understand how our fans are feeling as well, and are really looking forward to getting back out there and hopefully making amends come Monday.
Andrew, thanks for coming on and facing Lloydie. I'll let you have a chat to him in just a sec. But can you just enunciate for us the things that we should be looking for this weekend?
Yeah, we've spoken a lot about our discipline as a playing group and just not getting things done that are at an AFL standard. We talked a bit about our tackling, a bit about our work rate, which comes from the way we set the ground up. Things that we've been working on for a long period of time that we're just not getting done out there for one reason or another. And this week we've kind of, I guess, put a full stop on any acceptance on any of that and making that an expectation that if you can't do that, you can't play. So we're really determined to make amends.
Who's driven it, Andy? Like, has it been coach, player even, or more so coaches or players?
Truck's been really, really great this week, Lloydie. He was extremely passionate on Wednesday when we had our review, and it really came from the heart and hit quite a lot of us between the eyes, which I think we needed, and then followed by the players talking about their experiences and what was happening, and I guess led by Truck, but then pitched in by our leaders, by our playing group, and I guess by the end of it, it was a collective agreement on the things that just weren't good enough.
So, Andy, it's a second shocker in 5 weeks. I'm talking as bad as it gets. The Geelong was just a horrible performance in round one, and then that one on the weekend was really, really poor. I believe you lack honesty as a group, and that's a strong thing to say about a team. You lack honesty as a midfield, and I just don't think as I said, it's a hard thing to turn around. So you just touched on things that aren't going to be accepted. What do you mean by that? Because I'd be interested I'm interested, and as a Bomber supporter, what isn't going to be tolerated that you have in the first 5 rounds? Because as I said, lacking honesty gets you nowhere, and that's what I feel your midfield in particular does lack as a group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a fair question, Lloydie. And the conversations we've had from Wednesday to this afternoon have been as open as they have been at my time at the footy club, and we're really getting into the why and why things are happening out there. It's easy to see what's happening and comment on what we're doing wrong, but we're not trying to do the wrong thing. So it's figuring out why each individual isn't doing their role to the best of their ability. And then I think from a midfield point of view, a lot of our senior players are in there. So we need to stand up and take responsibility for what's going on out on the field. And we're taking it personally. Like myself, Darcy, Dylan Shield are all in there, which are senior leaders of our football club, and we need to stand up and lead by example and show the younger players what the Essendon way is. Can
you tell us what happened at halftime? I mean, it was a scrap at halftime. They were playing pretty average and you guys were hanging in there. But what happened at half-time that saw 10 goals in a row kicked?
Yeah, if we knew exactly,
Yep.
it hopefully wouldn't have happened, Gerard. But, these things happen in footy. On reflection, Fremantle's level didn't get dramatically better. We just got worse and didn't play to our level. I think we started playing quite safe and protected and just went away from the things that have hurt sides in the past that we've done. We were predictable. We weren't setting up properly around the ground, and a whole compilation of these things just added into their goals. And by the end of the third quarter, the game was well and truly over. And before we knew it, we were, all in our own heads and just nowhere near where we needed to be.
So every game plan, every match plan will only work if it's got work rate generating the energy required. So let's just accept that this week we're going to see 100%, 100% output as much as every player can give. What do we then expect to see from a strategy perspective? Because clearly the numbers tell us that you're not keeping the ball inside your forward line. You're not creating turnovers anywhere near enough to match it with what you did last year, let alone with the best this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think that point comes down to the way we set the ground up and how disciplined we are to our individual role. I think at the moment we've got a few breakdowns in certain areas and we're trying to fix mistakes with more mistakes, and that's just a recipe for disaster at the moment. So we need to get back to complete role compliance and setting the ground up the way we want to and being a really disciplined group.
Are you being overcoached to the point where players are playing like robots, or you're overthinking the game? I've been there before, and I've looked at myself on Vision on Monday, and I'm embarrassed. I've been embarrassed, Andy, with some of my efforts. So we've all been there before, but at times I was paralysed in what I was wanting to do because of what I was being asked to do. So were you honest with the coaches as well about potentially freeing yourselves up a bit more or being overcoached at times?
Yeah, I understand the point, Lloydie, and completely get that that's a part of our game. It's a very complex game, but our coaches have been completely transparent with us, and it's very two-way communication at our club at the moment. Like, coaches are open to our input. They're really open to knowing what we're thinking and feeling out there, and are open to our feedback and suggestions. So I don't feel like we're being overcoached at all. I think things can often get magnified when things aren't going very well, and things can easily be glossed over when you are going well. So there's obviously a lot of areas in our game that aren't going well, and it's probably easy to pinpoint certain things and I guess throw the blame at certain parts of our game and try and figure out why. But at the end of the day, we've just got to do our job out there, and the structure and game plan is a template, but then we actually have to play and compete and execute out there.
Andrew McGrath is the Deputy Vice Captain of the Essendon Footy Club, joining us live on Sportsday. Andy, can I ask you, the defenders of your football club would say that right now you are a young, emerging, inexperienced team. You've just come off of playing the first final series for this club in a while. Do you walk into games feeling that you are young and or inexperienced compared to your oppositions?
Not particularly. We're kind of sick of being labelled as a young, developing team. We've been that for a long period of time, and although we are quite, you look at our lineup on the weekend, we are quite young, but everyone's an AFL player out there, and we're all capable of performing our game plan, and we showed that last year. We had a very similar list last year, and we put together a really good back end of the season, and we're competitive in just about all of our games. So I don't think the young, inexperienced, developing side is a cop-out at all. We're aware of the reality. We are quite young compared to our some of the better teams in the comp and some of the other teams in the comp, but I don't think it's an excuse for the way we've been playing.
And you're absolutely loving this, and I think your fans would too, the honesty and the way you've spoken. Now we get to your own game. So there's been a lot of talk around where you're at as a footballer currently with your game. So what are you, in a sense, in terms of where do you think you'll play your best footy? Are you a half-back flanker? Are you a pure midfielder? What needs to be done for you to get back to playing your best football?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hybrid of those two roles. Lloydie. I guess coming into the system, I felt as though I had to be a midfielder, and that sort of weighed down on me a little bit and kind of, I guess, distorted my expectations of what I needed to be. And this year I've been really open to playing sort of anywhere and just so long as I can bring out my A game. And I think I can access that through a mixture of halfback and through the midfield. I don't think it's completely black and white or one or the other, but I think that's where I'll find myself playing my best footy, especially when Zach comes back, whenever that is. I think we'll have a bit of a shared role through the midfield and halfback.
Andrew, you've been the best footy guest we've had all year. Appreciate your honesty.
No
I'm
doubt.
sure your candid approach will be, I guess, admired by a lot of people listening, and we're just waiting to see what happens on Monday afternoon. All the best, mate, and appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Looking forward to Monday.